You want me to go live? Oh,
I just did. We're live now.
okay.
Okay, welcome to How to
Hello.
Build Your Own Home every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This is live chat where people come on board and ask us questions regarding how to build your own home as an owner builder. I want to put something in your head that will get you thinking about what this is really about, what owner building is all about. And it has to do with the side hustle. How many of you have heard the term side hustle? And a lot of times a side hustle can turn into a main hustle. Well, if you think about it, as an owner builder, by replacing the general contractor, you are now not paying $40, $50, $80,000 in a builder fee, meaning that's what you're going to pay a general contractor typically. On a low end, could be multiples higher than that on a higher end, upwards of $300,000-$400,000 to build a high-end custom multi-million-dollar home. Now that's not a side hustle. That there is really an income for a main hustle. If you really think about it, anything over 40, 60,000 on a fee to build a home or hire a general contractor, that becomes basically a main hustle. So think about it in those terms. Sometimes the side hustle might be, well, I make a couple $100 a month. My brother sells soap for a living, and he would repackage hangers and give them back to the suppliers and stuff like that. Little side hustle to make a couple $100 a month. That's kind of what most people think a side hustle is that they can make an extra $150 a week or $400 a month. A lot of people do Uber driving, and that's a little side hustle. But this is a little more than a side hustle, and I want you to be aware of that. And it's the savings you're really going after. That savings itself, it may not feel like you're making money, and that's the hard part about being an owner builder. You're saving money, but it'd be nice if you're making money. But I want you to think about this one other thing. I've seen a lot of people over the years turn multiple side hustles into a main career. I had a young man call me last night, and he says, I got your number. Great. Is there any way we can talk? My name is XYZ, and I'm kind of local where you are, and I'm in the next state over in Arizona. And he's very interested in becoming a general contractor. So I asked him a couple of questions. How old are you? 19. And he's been an HVAC contractor for 6 years. So he started when he was 14 years of age. And it was kind of interesting. We got to talking and whatnot. And the good thing is that he's got some experience in a major trade, which is one of the mechanical trades. As I've talked about before, if you can get some experience in the structural element, which is excavation, framing, foundation work, etc., and then get some experience in the mechanical somewhere, that's really a great paired up skill set to have. I've seen some people go at it that are strictly finished carpenters. That's it. Nothing about dirt work, nothing about foundation work. And they try to go at it as become a builder, and it's kind of hard for them. So as you're progressing, think about the potential for creating a side hustle out of this whole thing. And it might just turn into a main hustle. This has happened more times than you can shake a stick at with a lot of our students. Some students they're just realtors, and they just slide into development work. And what's that development work is just taking property and making a little bit of an improvement on it and selling it. That's a land developer, all right? You typically don't need to have a general contractor's license to be a land developer. You hire other people to do that work for you. If it's underground work, utility work, that kind of thing. I want everyone to think about the potential that can come from being an owner builder. You are going to be hiring between 38 and 46 different subcontractors, and each subcontractor can have 3 to 5 different employees coming to your home doing some of the work. Along the way, there might be something that you are really good at. Like me, I'm really good at dirt work. For some reason, I love it. It's not hard. I can estimate it right, and I can make some money. Plus, I have the heavy equipment. And it's really hard to mess up on dirt work. If you're going to have me do some base and case and cut in molding, It's not for me. I don't have the patience for it. I'd rather dig a backhoe in the dirt and pick up a big rock and move it. And I feel really satisfied doing that. So along the way, you're going to find something. You're going to find something that you might be able to turn this into a side hustle, and keep that open. I know a lot of people, like I know a farmer down the street, and he's got a backhoe. He uses a backhoe a lot for on the farm work, but he also does a lot of dirt work, trenching, and miscellaneous things for people here in the community. That's a great little side hustle to have. And think about that. What would it be? And would it be more physical labor, or just a skill that you have with a tool? Or is it just consulting, or is it just information that you help other people with? I know another guy who's an excavator, and he charges $500, and he'll give you all 6 different subcontractors that he recommends to build a pool. So you can literally manage to build your own pool, and you have all the people you need to come and do that. And he just charges that fee. So there's all kinds of things that are going to surface as an owner builder. You're going to learn a lot. I think most people learn more as an owner builder about business, about people and personalities, just about anything. It's an incredible experience. It's challenging, but it is incredible. Maybe we can talk about some questions regarding that, and to give some people some pointers and give some feedback from other people there. Let's go ahead and take a couple of questions here, because I want to come back to that topic matter, because we talked about it in my business networking group, and I'll reiterate that what we talked about this morning. So this one's a David, and he's 2173. How many square feet are required to get the best price per square foot on any given project? Really, really good question. I've actually pondered this many times. And the truth of it is that if you get too small, the subcontractors are going to charge you more. Why? Because they've got to do what's called mobilization. Mobilization is just hooking up the trailer, getting all their materials there, getting their guys there, et cetera, et cetera. And if they got a job that's just 300 square feet, that's the same mobilization as a 2,500 square foot home. It's the same mobilization. It's the same labor burden on his part. So that's why I've frowned on the tiny home scenario. It was a fad, but it's not a fad anymore. It's had its day. There are some people that are still kicking that can around here and there. But when you really think about it, 800 square feet or 1,400 square feet is not any more difficult to build than a 300 square foot situation. So with that in mind, I don't know if you've ever been to Utah, but we build very big homes. A lot of it's because of the families we have, but building bigger can be less costly, but there's a threshold, meaning that if it gets complicated in the design, that's where the cost really starts to come out, like pop out. In the whole foundation is not a rectangular design. It's skew-wampus all over the place. The more complicated you make that square footage, the more challenging it is to do that. And then if you go upstairs versus downstairs, a basement, that's a big difference in cost per square foot. And so that's a really, really good question. And I could talk forever on it. But for me, I wouldn't ever build anything under 1,500 square feet. You look at your market and what are the homes like in your area? If the average home is around a 2,200 square foot, why would you want to build something that's 800 square foot? You're going to be the lowest on the totem pole. If the average is around a 3,200 square foot, maybe you might build a 3,500 or 3,600 square foot home, then you would be the higher end home in the neighborhood. A lot of the places I build, and just about everywhere I build, I lift the community up substantially because I'm building something that's got higher value, more square footage, more bang for the buck, and it lifts the whole community. And you'll find that to be the case. You're either going to be low at the low end of the totem pole, lowest cost, cheap, and then you drag everybody down. This is kind of an odd situation, but I'll just be straight up. Down the road from me, somebody built a single wide trailer. Okay. A couple blocks away, there's a $1.8 million home in the same neighborhood. These are mountain communities and people can kind of build what they want. Well, that single wide trailer is kind of dragging a lot of other people down. And word is that eventually they'll just blade it and get rid of it and build a whole cabin right there instead. So that's what I'm saying, is that if you're very cautious, you can thread that needle where you're not the high end and it's hard to sell something or resell it down the road, but you don't want to be the ugly duckling at the same time. You want to kind of know where the square footage is in your market, where it's most opportune for you if you need to sell it or liquidate it. These are things to just consider, and even talking to a realtor kind of helps out with that. Okay, let's take another question here. Let's see. I'm having a hard time getting quotes. This is from LC199. It's been a month and I've only gotten back one back. What am I doing wrong? Oh, a couple things. Email that you're sending out, is it an email that looks like a builder email, first of all? And if it's not, then you need to change that. Get an email at Google or what have you, joesbuilders@llc.gmail.com. And then at the bottom of that email, there's what you call a signature page. You can literally have a link to a Facebook page, your email, your phone number, and all that. Maybe even a logo. And you can go on ChatGPT and it can create a logo for you for your business. Plug that in there. Look like a builder and make yourself smell like a builder. That's the first thing. Okay. The second thing of all is don't give off the impression in your language that you're kicking the tire or kicking the foundation. You don't want to give off the impression that you're looking for the cheapest. You're looking for the best price for the best quality. Okay. And don't say that the cheapest. I know people that go after things and it's a cost straight up. That's going to be a red flag to a lot of builders or subcontractors, and they're not going to want to bid that. So if they get whiff that you're an owner builder and you're kicking the can and kicking the foundation, they're not going to be interested. Make yourself look like a builder. And then second of all, give off the impression that you're looking for quality. Okay. And you can get 2 and 3 bids if you can, but look for quality. Other than that, it could be just the market you're in, and you're not really looking for subcontractors or asking around, who would you recommend I get a bid for on this? And you're looking for quality. For example, if you hear that in my market, I can get framing for $14 a square foot, but in your market, the price is probably $22 to $28 a square foot, and you are giving off the impression that you're looking to build a home for $14 a square foot on the framing, there's no way they're going to bid that if your market says otherwise. So you have to really know where your market is and what those costs are in your market, and ask around. Do the first steps course and do the module number 3. That's really going to help you out. I highly recommend doing the first steps course and module number 3. Okay, let's take some more questions here. Getting behind already. I do that. It's kind of bad. Michael Lebenzynski, hope I said that right. My build has a 42-foot high encapsulated 42-inch, crawl space. First floor will be OmniBlock. For stem wall, you recommend OmniBlock, poured concrete, or CMU. What are the considerations other than labor and material costs? First floor OmniBlock. You can talk with Denny on that, and if the structural engineering allows for backfill against the stem wall, that shouldn't be a problem. The OmniBlock is the same as the regular CMU. The only difference is with the OmniBlock, it's going to be an insulated block. It's an insulated wall. This CMU is not. So you could have some, if you're in a cold climate, you're going to have some cold wicking from the outside to the inside with that CMU, but with the OmniBlock, you're not. But if there's a cost savings to just do CMU and then do the OmniBlock on top of that, you could insulate the CMU down below in the crawl space. But that just gets to be kind of a headache with a mason, doing CMU block and then transitioning to OmniBlock on top of that. Maybe the cells might not line up or something like that. So I would tend to just go with the whole OmniBlock on the whole thing. So that's my take on it. Good question. We're gonna have Denny on our live chat soon, so we'll try to get him in the next week or two. He knows that we're trying to schedule that, so we'll get him on here. So, okay, next question.
I just want to do a shout out to Honey Caffeine. We haven't seen you in a while. We're so glad that you're back.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Just to let her know, like, back to LC 1991.
Okay, yes,
so it
it's
is
a builder email.
And she's getting it
Okay,
from
builder
Supply
email.
House Recommend. So she's doing a lot of things. I asked her if it was a small town, and she said she doesn't consider a small town, and she doesn't mention costs, just general scope of work. So if it's not a small town, is there any way to go to like the surrounding towns?
Yeah, you can go to the surrounding town. You know what I think is kind of sad? When government has a job, they post it on a lot of government sites, and a lot of subcontractors get those notifications, and so they bid it as it comes in. But with owner builders, there's nothing like that. And so the only other way that they know that you are trying to build is if they're on the feed with the local permitting office, and when new permits come, they email you about that. And how have you tried to pull a permit yet? And sometimes when you pull that permit, you'll start getting calls from people, especially in a down market like this. And some savvy subcontractors will be on that list, and they'll mention, hey, if you need a bid, let me know. I see that you just pulled a permit. I'm a framer, so if you need anything, let me know. I'd love to bid your project. So I don't know if you've actually done that permitting yet. So.
Yeah, and I don't think the city can give out recommendations because they have to be very neutral. But Brady brings
they're not. They're just giving the list of new permits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Which
Brady
is
makes
public
about
public
other
record.
methods, about going to local job sites. I think that's your best one, is by going to job sites, talking to guys and he said permitting too.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are just smart. I know.
Don't get discouraged. You'll make it work. Okay.
Yeah, and also the builder association. See where the closest home builder association is. They're going to have a list of people, and they're going to want to give that to you.
Right.
But yeah, just keep at it. Let's see. Oh, I didn't read this yet, but do you think I could get into some trouble handing out business cards to subs that say I'm a builder even though I don't yet have a business? Also, should I get a general liability insurance?
Yes, get the insurance. That's not a problem. And there's a source for getting insurance in the download section of our courses. But yes, call yourself a builder. There's nothing wrong with that. You're just not a builder for somebody else. You're a builder for yourself. You're just getting rid of the owner. You're just you're a builder. I can call myself a builder, or I can call myself an owner builder. Just call yourself a builder, and you just be just fine. Okay. Alex, just curious, what is your experience with pool design and build? Any tips in general? Thank you. Yes. When it comes to pools, I typically push my clients to just do a nice rectangular pool. Why? Because then I can put a pool cover on it. If you go with a bean pool or some really funky looking pool like that, unless it's a super high end pool with a multi-million-dollar home where you don't care, But if you don't have a pool cover on, you're going to pay higher costs in pool maintenance and also pool heating. And when I was a kid, I had a friend named Bernie Garso, and he had a pool, but he had a pool cover on it. And so they leave it on unless they actually wanted to swim, and it actually helped with keeping the pool nice and toasty and warm. So there's a lot of, plus if you're in a desert area and there's a lot of dust, that's going to get in that pool. So that's why I always just go with a rectangular pool, and it's the easiest to do, most affordable.
Yeah. And then when you have a pool cover, you actually, I think it helps with your insurance. I know I have a lot of clients when they look for a pool, they want it rectangle and even have the hot tub to be covered with the cover. Right. So when they're out of town, there's safety. So.
Right. And then in some areas, you don't have to put a 6-foot fence around the pool if you have a pool cover, and that can eliminate some costs there. So a lot of things to think about, but you could talk forever on that subject. Michael, for the stem wall question above, thoughts on using poured concrete with a step ledge to support first floor trusses or 12-inch omniblock. I like this step because that's considered what's called top cord bare. And I love setting trusses inside like that rather than using hangers. And talk with the engineer about it, because that's a cleaner way to set those trusses. I always like to do it that way. I don't like using hangers, especially trying to make them, because with an omniblock, you'd have to put a ledger board in. And on that ledger board could be a 2x10, 2x12, and you've got to mount it to the inside of the omniblock. And as a result, you've got to then put hangers on it. And it's not my cup of tea, although it can work with some J-bolts. As the concrete is being poured in the omniblock, you drill into the omniblock and you push in a J-bolt, and that J-bolt gets anchored to the concrete. And then you put a ledger board on, and then, of course, you can put your hangers on, and there's your floor. But on that first floor, if you can have a ledger, or not a ledger, but a ledge, like you're saying there, that'd be great. And concrete guys can do that. They can do an 8-inch wall and do it as long as they have 3 inches. Typically, what you need is about 3 inches to land that truss or LVL or support beam on there. As long as you have that much coverage to land a beam on, you're okay. Okay. The Mapurl, Western Washington, 1458 square feet. Would you recommend 1 or 2 lights in the attic and crawl space, or 2 overkill? No, 2 is fine. You at least want 1 in the attic, because when you get up there, and if you do have your HVAC system up there, as you go up through the crawl space, there's usually a light switch right there, or a plug. Excuse me. And if you can turn the light on, then you can see around there. Same thing with the crawl space. When it comes to a crawl space, I just did a crawl space for a home, and we put 4 lights in there right down the center. Really easy to access. But I would do a disc light. I wouldn't do those light bulbs, because first of all, they burn out. Second of all, I've knocked my head on those a dozen times and almost caught my head on fire. If you just do a J box with a flat flush mount LED for like $8, then it's never going to go out. You're not going to hit it with your head, and it's not going to get hot. So just FYI on that. Okay.
That's a good point. Okay. Just a shout out again to Elsie 1991. So she's not at permits yet, but waiting on the health department to approve the septic. So you're doing great. Good job. That's exciting.
Yeah. And when that permit comes, you might get some calls from people. When you send out for bids, sound excited, like, hey, we're building up. I got a new home coming with my company. We hope to break ground in a month and a half. If you get me a bid real quick, that would be awesome. Sound optimistic about it like that. My daughter's learned that trick, and she's very good at it. When she first came on, she was a little snarky with people and wasn't working great. Now her language has changed. In fact, she'll actually put something in the chat GTP, say, hey, how's my best route to get this person to respond to me or whatever. And Chat GTP will spit out something, real nice little blurb, and then she sends that in her email. She does it all the time now. So something you might want to
David,
try out.
I like David's point. Get some beat up jeans and some work boots and a worn shirt. Yeah, beat up
Yeah.
boots, work boots. It's true. Okay,
Yeah.
back to Honey Caffeine. So they've been super busy with prep work for our build, footing half done, Omni block delivered, trusses on order, and other stuff, not enough hours a day. So make sure you give us some pictures when you're doing your Omni block. I know Laura would love to see it. She's always asking about Omni block.
Yeah.
Give a shout out to 2 Point. We're glad you're here. And everybody, let's do thumbs up and likes, because that helps us. Let's see, David Parker.
Yeah, if a job were sized up with 10 or 11 builds of the same house across town, could square foot price come down a lot? Yeah, it can, because now you have what's called an economy of scale, and then you can negotiate with framers, foundation crew, and all that, where you say, I tell you what, I know you typically charge $18.50 a square foot. Tell you what, if I give you 10 homes, can you do that at 16? And we would do 2 foundations a week or a foundation a week. So we would keep up with you and all that. And I know a framer that I used quite a bit years and years ago, and he got tired of the custom build stuff and all the extras that people ask with custom builds. And he went right into a developer. And it's kind of risky because now he loses touch with all the other builders he has. But he was interested in just, mass quantity work. And he gave a better deal, and he's been with that developer for about 2 years now. So, and I think he was looking to get out and retire anyway. What a great way to retire and get out and with a bang and do a whole bunch of homes right away and then retire. So, yeah, it should, because you have that bargaining. You can actually go up to somebody and says, how about if I give you 5 homes at this, would you take it? And then you can negotiate. That's how these builders deal with it, And sometimes it's kind of brutal what they do, because they undercut a lot of subcontractors, and then they charge a higher price on the home, and then they pocket that money. But the actual laborer didn't get as much money as they could have gotten. So be cautious what you do to people. Good question.
Well, and if it's all close by, that's even better. Your price goes down quite a bit.
That's where people are going to want to bite and do that work, because they don't have mobilization costs. It's all right there. So
closer the
bargain
better.
for that. Buy into that. Okay, Brady, I'm working on a possible hot spring resort development, working feasibility. Never realized how expensive commercial pools can be. Ouch. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Ma Pearl, dug and wiring laid for future electric gate and hot tub swim spa. How much power would they need each? Talk with an electrician. It could be anywhere from 30 to 50 amps. The hot tub, it could be a little more, especially if the hot tub is being heated by electric only and not gas. So I don't know what utility you're going to use to heat that. But electric is harder to heat and a little more costly. And if you can get natural gas, I would recommend that highly to heat those units. But talk with an electrician, and I don't know which one you're going to use, whether it's gas or electric. It'll use both, but the main heating element without the electrical components, that heating element, more than likely will be gas. But I don't know. I'm not sure if you have natural gas where you are. If it's propane, you don't want to go there because that's too costly.
Yeah.
Would you recommend digging and laying wiring for future fence and pool, swim, spa, or wait? If it's going to be more complicated to do later, do it now. Like I was on a job site with a client, and he's going to do a pool, so I'm thinking about how best to get power. and gas and water out to where the pool unit is going to be. So we're solving for all that as we go right now. So if you don't want to have to run power, gas, water, etc., to the pool house later, do it now, because the cost now is hardly anything compared to what it would be later. Imagine digging into a wall or something to get that power later, something you don't want to have to mess with. And the cost to do it now is actually cheaper than trying to do it later.
Yeah, and I think and she's got lots of land because they're up in the Washington, and we spotlighted them a couple weeks ago. But we have somebody here locally, they've got to put up a block wall, and it would be hard to get into. So now is better to get it plumbed and wired for a pool than to wait later, because yeah, you'd have to get into a wall.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, we have Daniel Zarlengo from El Paso, Texas. Hello.
Cool.
Here we go. Honey Caffeine.
And Michigan codes require R50 and roofs. Yeah, pretty standard. Now, so we need a heel for our scissor trusses. We went with a 12-inch high. Your thoughts? That's fine. That's actually going to help with some ice damming too. Ice damming is the cause of a low heel, where your roof is coming here and your top wall is right here, and you got all that warmth reaching the bottom of the sheeting, and it causes the under sheeting to warm, and it melts the snow, but it causes the snow to ice and dam up. Well, when you suddenly have that heel height up here, you have more insulation, so the inside of the room over here isn't going to reach and start to warm up that roof. So that's a real smart thing to do, especially if anyone in a colder climate. Don't let them build your trusses without enough insulation packed in there. It's really going to be a great boom for you to do it this way. So yeah, you should be able to pack enough insulation in there for R50.
Okay. This is a great idea, David B. If the road on your lot is busy, the road's busy, you can always put out a sign with your business phone number saying, looking for all trades for single family home build, with your number on it. People have done that before, for sure.
Yeah, as soon as you can get a sign out there, the better. In fact, I put 2 signs out on some jobs about a couple weeks ago. Within a week, I had people calling me, hey, I'm a new door manufacturer, or I'm a new this. Can I get on your bid list? And I go, sure, no problem. And make yourself sound like a builder, look like a builder, and put a sign out there and taking bids. That would be awesome. I'm sorry I didn't think of that earlier. It's probably a number one thing to do right away.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay, Alex, we will hit you up. Actually, my nephew is going to be moving out to South Carolina. I'm not sure exactly where in South Carolina, but if he's close to you, we might do a double visit. I'll take you up on this dinner. I wish we had a private plane or something. We could just go visit everybody and do consults with everybody. And maybe we should do that. Maybe we should have a drawing.
That's what you need to do, is just put a sign out there like that, and put a really nice sign. Take some time to do a nice sign with your phone number and all that, and people will start to call you and text you. All right. You can even put a website or email. Okay.
Oh, okay. We have to finish this. I feel bad. Okay. Good idea. But hers is a dead end. Oh, man.
Maybe go back to that.
Okay.
If it's kind of a rural situation, you might be able to get that sign up front, so you get a little more exposure. And you can say Joseph's build site entrance here, and then you'll get some more people looking at something like that. Realtors do that. Open house here sign. You can put a little sign here, build site access for Joseph's build, whatever, this turn. And you'll get some people to turn down there.
Okay.
The Ma Pro, would 3 crawl space lights be enough? Yeah, it'd be nice. Or 4. I know you do big homes, so checking 3 would be fine. And you can get a disc, flush mount disc light that's 4 inches, 6 inches. Just get a 6-inch one. You get 8, 9, 10. They're kind of crazy, but just get 4 6-inch lights, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. None of those pull chain lights. No more of that.
David has a good point. As a person that worked in crawl spaces years ago, I can tell you, everyone that has to work in one that has plastic on the ground and lots of lights and a couple of outlets will love you in the future. That's
Yeah.
good. I never even thought of outlets, but that's true, right? If you have to have a tool and you're underneath the fix things. So maybe 4.
It's not hard.
More the
It's
better?
not hard to add an outlet there.
Okay.
Michael, which do you prefer and why? Copper, PEX, PB, or a Pono? I'm PEX guy. The others are kind of new, and I don't trust new things, and I stay away from copper because there's still copper that's utilized at the water heater and at some of the connections. That's just the way things are still. But if you have a freeze at all, copper's toast. It's going to split. It's a rigid pipe. It doesn't have expansion capacity to it. PEX does, especially PEX in a sleeve, which is insulated. I haven't really found any positive movement in the other 2 yet, but I haven't even investigated the Aponar as much. But I'm still a PEX guy.
What's the difference between PEX A and PEX B? What are those?
I remember I have it. It's in my course.
Okay.
I actually have that in my course. I'd have to find it somewhere.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Here's the next one.
Okay.
From David Parker. Can 12-inch Omni brick be crowned with pronounced stones such as for corners, windows, doors, etc.?
Crowned. You can put stone on it. That's not a problem. But with pronounced stone. Crowned, I don't know what you mean by crowned, but it can be, I can have that affixed to it. It's not a problem because you just put a gray coat or a scratch coat directly to it with some synthetic embedded in it for a better bond. Then you can apply just about anything to it. So I don't know what you mean by I don't know what you mean by crowned.
Okay, maybe he'll respond. Okay, I got a response from PEX A uses expansion fittings. PEX B uses crimp rings.
Yeah, I don't like crimp rings.
PEX A is more flexible, better for freezing.
Yeah. The crimped ones, it's like a crimper and it's a stainless steel ring that it just crimps around it. And I know a lot of plumbers use that, especially service plumbers, because they can get in tight spaces with that crimper a little better. With the ring, it's like a crimper. It's bigger. It's like this, and you have to get in there and then crimp it like that. But some of those machines are getting easier to use. I just like it because it seems like a solid fit. It's like a fatter ring. The crimp one is almost as wide as my wedding ring right there. Whereas the regular, the PEX uses the expansion fittings. They're like double the width of that. So you're going to have more coverage on that PEX, a tighter fit. So.
And then he also said Uponar is a PEX A. So that might help everybody.
Yeah, there's new fittings out there right now that are neither ring nor crimp. It's just almost like a fitting. I just don't see them handling as much PSI. Sometimes you're going to have a PSI surge that comes through a home, and that could be just enough to pop a few things and start a leak somewhere. So there's a lot of fittings out there that are not rated for a higher PSI, and I try to avoid those. That's why I like the crimp ring, not the pinched one, but the regular ring.
Okay.
Hi, Keith and Melissa. Been a while. Thinking of building a slope barn dominium style home on an ICF basement. That's interesting. The soil is a sandy clay in upstate New York. Any recommendations for the footings? Just get that sand awfully wet before you dig your footings, because it will, and then pour as quick as you can, because sand has, so if there's enough clay in it, it will hold. But if there's more sand than clay, it will start to slough. So you got to move quickly on that footing and keep it as wet as you can, and then get it done. But yeah, that's my recommendation for the footing. And then that should be easy to backfill against, because you're not going to have a lot of aggregate anywhere. It's just sand and clay. Make sure you get your compactions around that whole foundation. And then my recommendation is just get the footings done, get the wall up. And I would probably not go with an ICF basement. I'm not a fan of ICF. I would just go with a straight basement pour, and then put some insulation on the inside of that and really have a thermal break from there. You might be able to save some money rather than ICF. I don't like ICF because I don't like insulation on the outside of a concrete wall. I'd rather have the insulation on the inside of the wall, which is why I like OmniBlock. It's got a double thermal break, and all the insulation is inside that wall. So you've got real rigidity on the outside to apply blocks, stucco, whatever. Plus you've got the thermal break, and then an easy way to apply anything you want on the inside. So I just like more rigidity on the wall to affix any kind of wainscoting or siding or whatever material. So what exterior finish should we put on the 12-inch heel on top of our OmniBlock? We were thinking painted aluminum. Painted aluminum would be nice. You can do some HardieBack material. You can also just do some OSB and then put some shake on there, whatever you want, really. It's up to you. But keep in mind, on that OmniBlock, I like to double plate the top plate of my OmniBlock, because when I set that truss on there and I only have 1.5 inches to put a nail in, that's not going to help with high winds, especially with your hurricane straps. So if you put the J-bolt at the top of the OmniBlock, I make that J-bolt come out at least 4 inches. So it gives me 3 inches, inch and a half of the double top plate, plus another inch for the threaded bolt. So now with 2 plates on top of the OmniBlock, I now can mount hurricane straps. I can strap that and hold that and nail that truss down with a little more meat. So if you're in a high wind area and you worry about that, it might be best to put a double plate on top of the. And then the neat thing is you got more meat for that siding on that 12-inch heel. So it's not bad. So, and if you talk with your truss manufacturers to let them know that's what you're doing, that can actually help them out. Okay.
Okay, this is a 3-part question, okay?
Okay. Small town fella, building my home in North Carolina, made the mistake of covering my entire roof with ice and water shield, ventilate it to prevent trapped moisture. Roof does have ridge vents, though. Okay.
Just a minute.
Thoughts?
Keep going.
Sorry, sit hand before fully editing. Looking for advice to prevent trapping moisture on roof deck. It does have a ridge vent, and we will be installing soffit intake vents. Any other advice? Yeah, you're in a high humid environment. One more note worth mentioning on the roof. The roof pitch is a 612. Yeah, that's a low pitch, but it's safe, easy to walk on. You can put some baffle vents in. You can get them at any box store in the insulation aisle. Sometimes they're cardboard, sometimes they're styrofoam. And a baffle vent would go right at the base of the eave, and you only need a few of those in a few bays. Put some baffle vents in there, and then air is going to come from the eave, work its way up past the insulation. And neat thing about a baffle vent, it's about 4 feet long. So imagine a baffle vent up against the sheeting of a roof like this. It's just, and then here's the sheeting. Oh, there's like 1.5 inches of ventilation going all the way down to the eave and all the way up past the insulation. So all this spot here is insulation. And so if you put a 1 or 2 baffle vents, you're going to get ventilation underneath the sheeting of that roof and up through your turtle vents or ridge vents or whatever you're doing. So in high humid environments, it's a real challenge. You need to really ventilate your roofs. I live in a very hot, dry climate. It's just the opposite. Okay. We ventilate for heat, not for moisture buildup. So
Brady wanted to make a point. Uponar has had some quality issues in the past.
yeah, we got it. So
okay. Here's a good
it would
question.
be, as most people building your own home are not experts, would it be worth the expense to hire a home inspector a couple times during the build? They seem to find some crazy stuff on YouTube. Yeah, if they've got enough experience and they have all 4 certifications, there's 4 certifications they need. And if they have those, you can have them come and give you a list of things to look at. But if you're in the course, you just download the checklist. That checklist is going to help you out. It's going to be a lot more thorough than an inspector because you're going to know what to look at, what to look for, and to check for that. So if you're not in the program, get with the program. Get the self-managed course, and it's going to help you out a lot. You can also, when you schedule an inspection, be there with the inspector and ask them questions. Don't challenge them. Don't piss them off. Just ask them questions about what they suggest and what they think is a good quality for something to be done. Okay. I've learned a lot.
I don't know if this question is that crown question because it's David Parker.
A piece that is proud, standing out some, and bolder than the pieces around it, more pronounced accents, frame doors, windows, top of wall corners. Yeah,
Is that crown?
If you're talking about stone, because I think in the previous email or text or message you were talking about stone work.
I think was it this one? Can a 12-inch awning be crowned with pronounced?
Yeah, you can. I've seen that done. There's a lot of stonework that's done just on corners only, and you can do that on OmniBlock. Keep in mind, it's concrete and it's porous. All right. And it's got crevices in it. You could easily put a gray coat to it, but you need to put some synthetic glue in the gray coat, which is called the scratch coat. Scratch coat is more abrupt, more like thick sandpaper in a way, but really divots in it, so that when you put the mortar to it to affix a stone to it, it's got more bite to it. Okay, that's what a scratch coat is versus a gray coat. Gray coat or brown coat, that's typically applied to a lath product, but scratch coat is designed for stonework.
Here's it added: heavier brick to accent the frame window doors.
Yeah, you could do that. It would be a scratch coat. Okay.
Okay. Then we have hype. Look who's here. Hype stonks.
Oh, first floor slab on grade shower. Do you typically recommend recessing the slab 1 to 2 inches to the shower pan, or do you prefer a flush seamless entry? 2 inches. Go with the recessed 2 inches. However, if the shower is big, like a 5 by 4, 5 feet this way, 4 feet that way. If it's big, then I recess it 3 inches because it gives me additional slope. The bigger the shower, the deeper the recess. And I've never gone anything over 3 inches, but 2 inches is standard. So talk with your slab on grade guy, and he can easily recess that. If he's never done that, all he needs to do is take a 2x material, rip it down 2x4, and put that 2x material flush with the slab on grade. Okay. And then it's recessed in there. So all the concrete is filled up in there, but at the bottom of that 2x material, you don't fill it up to the top of that 2x material, only on the outside. On the inside, it's recessed. It's dropped 2 inches. It doesn't have to be perfect. The plumbing has to be center, of course. It doesn't have to be perfect and pretty, just at least 2 inches, because that's where the tile guy is going to come in and build up his pan just perfectly. So it's a zero threshold shower. And if you're smart, you can actually work with truss plants to actually have them build in a zero threshold recessed shower. They can build it into the trusses, but they got to hit their measurements just right. I did a video on that. We did that on a home across the valley here, and I'll show you the finished product. It's pretty cool.
Okay, here you go. The Ma Pearl. Or are you going to show it? Are you pulling it up or are you?
No, it's another video coming up.
Okay.
Would you avoid venting soffits? Options are aluminum or cedar soffits. You know, after having seen my home almost survive a fire, it survived the fire because there was no venting at all in the eaves. So if you're in a fire rated area, sealing off that eave is super, super important. And it has to be a certain micron level, meaning that you can't allow embers to get up into the eave. Like I'm rebuilding a home over just down the road. And the reason why it burned down is because fire embers got up into the eave and started to burn in a very dry climate, which is that attic truss environment. And the whole house started to burn down from inside the soffit. Yep. And so there's some code, and I have it in the course, the WUI code, Western Urban Interface Code, Fire Code, and you can download that, and it gives you links for just about everything. But I've really changed my mind on ventilation. Unless I'm in a humid environment. In dry climates, I try to avoid it, especially if I put aluminum shingle roofs on, because that's a radiant barrier. It's going to keep the heat out anyway. So, but if I put asphalt shingles on, yes, I'm going to have to ventilate that roof. It's a radiant mass energy being pulverized inside that attic. So then ventilation is key. But I'm very cautious on how and where I put it in the eave. So, and I seal all my eaves, folks. I seal them all. And then I just put a couple of holes in them, a couple of key locations. But again, it's your local area where what your local area requires. Like in California, there's some places where there's no ventilation allowed at all, period, because of fires. And they make you ventilate on the roof. If you looked at tile roofs, they'll have a vent down low and another vent up high. And I don't know how that works, but heat apparently comes into the low part of the eave, comes up, and then it exits through the other vent up at the top. So I've seen a lot of roofs, especially tile roofs, do that.
Okay. More clarification.
Already recessed during the concrete pour. Are you recommending to build to the mud bed to a seamless entry, or do you recommend maintaining a recess after buildup? No recess. When it's all said and done, and you have tile in the bathroom and tile in the shower, that should be a zero threshold. And by the time you hit the tile in the shower, which is typically a different tile, it will immediately start to slope away. And the benefit of that is you may get water out there, but for the most part, it's going to drain right back into the shower. That's what a zero threshold shower is. The transition occurs at the edge of the shower where the pan starts and the regular floor is flat. That's where it starts. And there should be no hump. Or if there is a hump, it's going down. I've seen a lot of tile guys do a subtle hump right there. And most of the tile you use in a shower pan is a small a tile piece that's on a met. So they can actually curve and follow the flow of the tile. You don't want to have anything larger than 4 or 6 inches. Once you have a tile piece that's bigger, it's harder to get that curvature. It's harder to get that drainage. So always find a nice pebble or nice matted tile that's small pieces, and you can immediately start to make that turn into the shower.
The shower is about 9 feet by 5 feet.
Yeah. Yeah. If you did a two inch, that should be okay. They might just build that pan up a little less. Talk with your tile guy to make sure he has the proper slope.
Hey, we did it.
Okay.
We did.
We got some guests coming and some fun things happening at our house tonight. A lot of new interesting videos. We've started a new project. We've got projects that are ongoing. Again, we're just a builder showing what I'm doing on job sites, and it's really exciting. So next week we'll be here from 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you have any questions, have them ready. We are here at your disposal. You got a professional realtor with 20 years experience and a builder. He thinks he knows it all. And so we're here at your disposal. Go to howtobuildyourownhome.com. Take the First Steps course. It's the best 5,000 foot level approach to seeing whether or not you want to be an owner builder. And it actually is the best course for helping you understand what the real cost per square foot is in your market. There's no other course out there like that helps you understand the real facts of your particular market. And then the self-managed course is right after that. And keep in mind, if you finish the First Steps course, it has a coupon code at the end, gives you a discount on the self-managed course. And we have not increased our prices since we started. We've kept them all the same. We're just out there to help people, and we really enjoy what we're doing. So make sure you like and subscribe, make some comments after it's all said and done. And it's Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Yes.
Yeah.
Call your mom.
Okay. We'll see you guys next week. You guys take care.
See ya.